Hello and welcome everybody and thanks for joining me again. My name is Wilky and I am back with more Vela gameplay. Back to Chainblades, because while I do not necessarily like them against bosses, they are, well, a lot more practical against large crowds of mobs. Mainly due to the rather wide arc they have, but really it's just 10 times easier. Well, maybe not 10 times, but it really is a lot easier to clean out mobs and rooms in general with chain blades than it is with swords. Especially since I found out that this one skill actually grants me some stamina regen, which helps out quite a bit. I'm still not exactly used to spam that move, but this one gives me a 15-second buff, which recovers some stamina, which is really good, which is really helpful. Because that's something I really struggle a lot with on Vela. Did I not hit it? Oh, no. I didn't really put any skill points into that skill. Maybe I should do it because it increases the stamina regen, which is... it's pretty good, actually. The only downside is that this move pretty much leaves you vulnerable. So when I grab some enemy and pull in and do it like this, I can pretty much be freely attacked. I don't have any iframe, I don't have any... The only thing I think I have is some super armor frame or something like that. So I don't think they can knock me down, but yeah. I don't necessarily think that move is that smart to use in case some hard-hitting enemy is around. So like I said, it kind of has a fairly long animation. So it might actually kill me if I use it wrong. And like I said, I'm still not really used to it. The thing is, I don't like that buff upkeep playstyle thingy, which a lot of classes now revolve around. Even Swordlands got 2 buffs. Well, the one is not really a buff in that aspect because it really only triggers if you dodge. So it's not that bad. But they have another buff which you have to regain every 30 seconds or so. Which is not necessarily too bad, but I'm simply not used to it, and I don't really prefer playstyles that revolve around buffs. While Spearlan is even more buff heavy, I don't feel that much annoyance in that buff because it recovers my stamina, which means it keeps me fighting without having to take a recovery break or something. So that's not really bothering me that much, at least. I would prefer not having to use any buff at all, or only the SP skills, but unfortunately the developer went into that type of direction, I guess. That most classes, not all, I'm not sure if Herc has a lot of these active buffs. He has a few buffs, but these are, from what I have seen, only SP buffs, so he doesn't really have like a regular buff compared to like Swordlan, who has the Furious buff, or the Spearlan, which has the Fury infusion. But yeah, Vela on the other hand has, for swords, she has the Sword Wall buff, which I talked about in the raid, which increases the damage done by Crosscut, the counter move, I think by a pretty high amount. I think at level 3 Sword will boost the critical damage, or like the crosscut damage, I think 5 times or something. So you really hit a lot harder if you try and actually get some buffs going before countering. Obviously that makes it a bit harder, but it's good, I think. That means that the devs actually put some thought into it. Because at first I thought that's kind of just like, why is she able to counter like this? Because it's really simple. I didn't figure out all of the mechanics, but once I will do, I might actually know how exactly it works with the counters. Because I'm still not exactly too sure if I can counter, for example, if I turn my back towards the enemy, if I'm still able to counter. Yeah. I really don't know. I was kind of distracted. Jeez. Yeah, that's pretty much why I don't like Vela in general, because as well as the chain blades, she has these stacks of coolness, and once I activate it, I can sort of spam a few smash attacks, which is really cool. I like the mechanic itself. But yeah, it's just, again, keeping up a buff, or rather working on it, get a buff, use it, get it again, use it. I'm not really a fan of that. It kind of bothers me, really. But then again, a lot of games have this type of mechanic, so... I mean, it's not too bad, really. You can get used to it. It's not like you're standing there every 5 seconds and pressing some random buttons to get a buff going, but... Well, you know. I simply don't like the mechanic. Which is probably why I will stick to Lon mainly. And which is the reason why I also like Kai in general, because at least the bow version, because he doesn't really have any buff except the attack speed one if you use normal shots, which I don't use too often because it's kind of annoying to click the whole time. But yeah, I'm not really sure what classes I will play in the future. I still have a Herc on my account. I may actually take a look at it and be like, maybe figure out how the class exactly works, because there's a few mechanics I didn't really get yet, but yeah, I'm not too sure. Anyways, I don't want to ramble on too much while questing. I just wanted to throw some random thoughts in. Maybe I should talk about something different real quick. I get a lot of questions from people around the world that they want to play the game and that they cannot play it. The reason is Nexon, or I don't think it's Nexon itself, but rather DevCat. But don't nail me on that one, I'm not too sure. The developer, I think it's the developer, they kinda set the region lock. So it's not Nexon that blocks off certain regions, but it's DevCat. And apparently they do it for some reasons, I don't know. I haven't looked at the issue really. I didn't really bother too much with that. But it seems that the devs itself have set this regional login. So it's not actually the publisher's fault, or at least I think so. But like I said, I'm not too sure about that. Anyway, if you're wondering if you can play the game, at least the EU version has a forum post which shows pretty much every country that is blocked. And if you're not on the list, that means technically you should be able to play. However, even if your country is not on the list and you're, for example, trying to play the European version, which is the one I'm playing now, and you try to play the game, I will tell you will probably not enjoy it as much, because it is revolving around peer-to-peer, so as long as you're playing alone, it's not really a big deal. But as soon as you start playing in a party, and you're getting hosted or matched by some other people who are relatively far away, you will actually end up having a quite bad experience. You will end up having a lot of lags to deal with, a delay, which eventually will either cause you to quit the game, or people kind of get mad at you because you're either dying often or you're not really dealing any damage or something. So I recommend, if you're living, I don't know, there's at least the North American version and the European version. There's Asian versions. I'm not sure if the Korean server, Japanese server, whatever it is. These are up as well, which is obviously only going to interest people who are from these countries. But generally, if you want to play Vindictus, you should probably Google first or search around first if you can even play the game, if you're not region blocked. Because you can still proxy it, but it's probably not going to be a really good experience due to the fact that you're going to have to deal with a lot of lags. And since the game pretty much revolves around party play, at least in terms of raids, I don't recommend doing it, which is kind of sad, I know. There have been a couple games which I was not able to play due to the fact that I'm from Europe and they either had a North American region lock or simply only were available to Asian countries. So I know the feel and I know the pain, but that's sadly how the current state of games is. But I don't really know why they do it. I'm pretty sure they have some reasons for it, probably. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for sticking around for kind of talking a bit more than usual. And as always, thank you guys for sticking around and see ya.